now the wars, I mean, just to recap, the war started with a plan for regime change through air war, instant air war, kind of instant regime change through a bloodless air war, like, the US and NATO just carving up Yugoslavia without losing a single US service member. And now US troops are dying. Reuters just reported over 150 US troops wounded. They've been hiding the injuries in bases in Germany. And there's no more talk about regime change. Trump is vowing an all-out campaign of state terror just to open up the Strait of Hormuz. And the economy globally is tanking. And the US is on the verge of losing many of its bases, its forward-positioned military bases throughout the region. It's clinging on to US empire right now. That is something they didn't expect. But Mohammad Morandi and others who understand the Iranian system from the inside and the resilience of the Islamic Republic could have told you that. And honestly, I could have told you that, or I could have told Trump that as well, but he was listening to his golf buddy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who is a member of the Chabad cult and a dedicated Zionist ideologue. So here we are in a disastrous war for Israel, with senators emerging from a briefing of the Gang of Eight today with Marco Rubio and Trump's national security team, again, pulling their hair out, declaring that I've never believed that we would be this close to a ground war. Well, this is what happens when the air war fails and when you lose you have already lost the political and strategic war. Trump has already lost politically and strategically, and all he has left is the option of throwing in hundreds of thousands of working class Americans who signed up for the military so they could go to college to take over Karg Island or something disastrous like that.
I want to comment on the point that Iran is winning militarily. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I want to give a
I didn't say that. Just want to be clear. I didn't say militarily, but I said politically and strategically.
Then I agree with you. I think Iran is winning strategically, because for Iran to win, all they need to do is survive. If this is a regime change operation, they need to survive and keep a leader that continues the ideological foreign policy and strategy of the former supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. And obviously, having a supreme leader with the same last name is the best way of doing that. So you think Iran is losing militarily?
Well, everybody, even supporters of the Islamic Republic, would have acknowledged that Iran was at a sort of was out. I wouldn't say outgunned, but they don't have the same firepower of a military with a $1.5 trillion budget, or the Israelis, which Israel is essentially an army with a state. It's like an army with a Knesset.
Do you think Iran is beating expectations? I think they are. But then my counterpoint, so I think you'd agree with me that no one expected Iran to drag in the Gulf, which is shocking to me, because Iran made it clear that if they're attacked again, they would close the Strait of Hormuz, they would drag in the Gulf, they'll go all out to ensure this never happens again. Professor Miranda told me this in the interview. He said, if Iran is attacked again, Iran will not accept a ceasefire. Even after the 12-day war, he said, Iran will not accept to end this war, because Iran wants to ensure that this never happens again. And the only way to ensure this never happens again is to cause as much damage as possible to the US military, as much damage as possible to Trump politically, as much damage as possible to Israel, which is the main, their biggest enemy. And if there's in future wars, probably going to be Israel, not the US, and the global economy, to ensure that American allies and other countries don't allow the US or Israel to strike Iran again. So this is where I agree with Professor Morandi. Now, today's news, though, that Iran is mining the Strait of Hormuz, that is pretty shocking to me. That came in initially, reports, according to CBS, according to intelligence reports, they're planning to. A few minutes later, Trump makes a post saying, don't you dare mine the Strait of Hormuz, or I don't know what he says in the post, something along the lines that we'll destroy you, we'll bomb the hell out of you. I'm assuming there, because that's what he usually says. Let me read the post exactly, because it's important. He says, if Iran has put any mines in the Hormuz Strait, we have no reports of them doing so. We want them removed immediately. If for any reason mines were placed and they are not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. If, on the other hand, they remove what may have been placed, it'll be a giant step in the right direction. So this might be an indication of Trump saying, look, I want to end this war. Please don't put mines in the Strait of Hormuz. That's my way of interpreting it. But there's another counterpoint, that putting mines shows desperation. Because when you mine the Strait of Hormuz, even Chinese ships are not able to go through now. And China needs Iranian oil. Unless Iran is doing this to China and Xi Jinping, who's going to meet Trump soon, pressures Trump as well. I just don't see the strategic benefit of mining the Strait.
Well, Iran has other means of exporting oil, including pipelines. So they don't necessarily need that. That we don't know that Iran is mining the Strait of Hormuz. This came from U.S. intelligence, which may be an intelligence assessment fed to the media to justify Trump's campaign of terror against what he called defenseless targets. And as we see, they bombed another school today. They bombed an oil depot. They've run out. Their target bank of IRGC top targets is exhausted, and the resilience of the Iranian system has forced them into this kind of spiraling war of classically, characteristically Israeli terror on the Iranian people, which has, of course, discredited the idea of regime change. So we don't even know if they're mining the harbor. If they are, the Strait of Hormuz, if they are, they got 2,000 to 5,000 mines. Iran has mobile mines, which are difficult to clear. They're like drone mines, which can evade mine sweepers. They can do that. But to me, that would be sort of a strategy of last resort. Let's consider how the Yemeni Ansar Allah movement blocked the Red Sea and contributed to a massive drop in global shipping during the U.S. failed war to dislodge them, another war on behalf of Israel. They simply targeted a few ships, and then shipping companies like Maersk decided it was too expensive to insure their shipping. The insurers weren't going to come through, and that was a wrap. So I don't even think they need to mine the Strait of Hormuz. But if they do, it's going to be difficult to clear the mines. And if Iran lasts 2 to 3 more weeks like this, the gas prices in Los Angeles are peaking above $8 in some areas. The American consumer is getting hit very hard. This will cause massive inflation. It's discrediting the petrodollar. It's discrediting the U.S. as a global hegemon. And it also can't be separated from the domestic politics in the United States, where we have midterms coming up. Donald Trump, before launching this war, which he was clearly goaded into by Israel and Israeli assets surrounding him, before that, he was underwater. He was below 37% approval rating, which means he is lower than where most presidents were going into midterms. Americans are very upset about affordability. The affordability of goods is going to make it's going to be much harder to afford basic goods for Americans and for companies now that gas prices are surging, just because getting them to market is going to be so much more expensive. So Trump is facing political oblivion, and it won't just be the destruction of Donald Trump. It won't just be Donald Trump going down in flames. It'll be the entire GOP coalition, which is built up entirely around Donald Trump, including his chosen successor, J.D. Vance, who will go down with the ship.